Boards. Boards games, boards games, it's what I'm talking about. Boards games, boards games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And today I'm going to tell you what I thought of a couple of games that are new to me. Mind Out is a game that I played once with Layla, and is it what we wanted? Manhattan Project. This is a game. Can you predict? Will I like this game? Sorry about all the rhymes. Say Anything is a game I played a lot. I truly love it, but do I need it now? I do not. Board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. Hey, good morning, or afternoon, or evening, or good night, or wherever you are. I hope that you are having a good day generally. And yeah, so as always, I am Bez. Whatever time it is, it could be bath time for you. So it is busy bath time board game blether. Now, today I'm going to be reviewing the three games that I've already showed you: Mind Out, the Manhattan Project, and Say Anything. And look, I'm not going to bury the lead. I love Say Anything. I think this is one of the best games in the world, but I'm not going to keep it because I've played it just too many times. I've gone through all the cards multiple times, and at this point, it's like, yeah, I don't want this anymore. Mind Out, sadly, what's the word I'm looking for? It was nice. It was working well as a game. It was good. It wasn't exciting. Anyway, and Manhattan Project, we did enjoy it, but it turns out that parts of what I'm going to say, we did get the rules wrong, but I am going to go over all of that. The rules are very good, but yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for jumping in, and let's start off with a brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? I'm going to say the thing that I was going to say yesterday, which is headphones. So when Mike and I were chatting before the show started yesterday, we were chatting about the nature of headphones, and headphones are pretty cool because, I can walk around and be listening to my friend and, having a bit of a chat. And rather than having to hold my phone up to my ear, I've got these cozy headphones and then I'm listening and I'm walking around and I'm speaking this way. And that's just a wee bit more comfortable. Also, I can just keep the phone in my pocket if I'm listening to a podcast or some music or whatever. And that's one of my favorite things to do, genuinely, just walk around and listen to podcasts. And hello, Alex. It is lovely to see you on a Sunday. This is one of my review shows. It is because, as you might be aware, I have had bits of, I'm kind of gesturing vaguely at my teeth. That's what I blame my unpreparedness on. So it's free games, and there's the camera. I think it's going. I can see it here. So lovely to see you. And we are talking about headphones, which are brilliant. And also, headphones stop me from having a feedback loop when I'm talking to someone else on camera. If it's me and if it's them, today I've muted this screen, so it's all good. And so let me know if there's ever a feedback loop. I have remembered to put the headphone jack in there and mute that. But yeah. And hello, Rob. It is lovely to see you. We're talking about Ifmas, but let's talk. Everyone, share what are your recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. Oh, I did play a game yesterday. I watched one of the final ever streams. It was like a special goodbye stream for Girls Game Shelf, and you played a game called Blank Slate. I really enjoyed this game. So Blank Slate, you've got a card that's got an underscore, so it is literally kind of a blank line, and so it might say head or tail or P. And then you need to think, okay, what could make P work? Could you do peacock or pea green or pea soup or pea body or whatever? And so you're trying to match exactly one person ideally. And so in this game, it's a really nice mechanism. It reminds me of Dixit, where you want to be and also for that matter, Doodles and Good Question, where you want to be a little bit clever, but you don't want to be too clever. If you match with exactly one person, you get 3 points. If you match with 2 or more people, you get 1 point. If you match with no one, you get a big fat 0. And this, you could do the most obvious thing and get that one secured, like 1 point every round, but you're not going to win that way. You want to be a little clever. You want to, okay, let me push it so that I can get that 3 points. Okay, push it. And, no one else got that. So in theory, you could say, okay, maybe with the size of the group that we were playing, maybe it would be better balanced if it was like 5 points for one match and 3 points for 2 matches and 2 points for 3 matches and 1 point for more matches. But that the beauty of the scoring system is it's simple. You can scan, you can quickly say, okay, there's one match. Oh, there's more than one match. Oh, I get 1 point. And then you stop looking. You don't have to keep track of more than 2. You only have to count up to 2 in this game, which is quite a low number to count up to. And also the community, that was so good. And so yeah, Blank Slate, good game. I guess that's an impromptu bonus review. So like Blank Slate, I would totally play that again. It's one of those games that it's all about the content. The rules are brilliant. Kudos to who designed it. I've not actually looked up. Sorry, whoever designed Blank Slate. Just looking it up on Board Game Geek, which people... This is the kind of riveting content that everyone wants. Watching BEZ look up. Okay, so it's by the Op. Previously they were called like USAopoly, and it's designed by Robert Camp. And it's meant to be for 3 to 8 players, and we were definitely more than 8 players, but it did work with so many more. And I think that, with 20, 30 players, it is kind of crazy, but it's still a lot of fun. And whilst it might not be perfectly balanced, it is just brilliant, right? It's fun. And more to the point, Girls Game Shelf, wonderful people. And so that was definitely a highlight for me. So let's go into what Rob and Alex are saying. So Alex has started playing Hades. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I hear that you are supposed to die a lot. I think it's one of, some games like, Super Meat Boy. Does anyone know Super Meat Boy, like that older game where it's like masocore, where you're basically dying? And it's not just that, like, I want to be the guy, where there's surprises and then you're like, okay, here all the apples fall down and kill you, here all the apples go up and kill you. So it's a memory test. In Super Meat Boy, it's actually, you've got to really use your skills, and then you play it maybe 100 times until you finally beat the level. And Alex agrees that the little bit of the Girls Game Shelf stream that they could watch was really fun. Rob Harper said that they had an online virtual medieval banquet. We'd all made a load of dishes and consumed and bantered over Zoom. Not as good as the real thing for sure, because you can't share dishes. I guess that's the real limitation. Not to mention, obviously, all the tactility of the hugs and whatnot. But it was great. One of the attendees performed a song towards the end based on the earlier shenanigans. That sounds pretty good. So like a proper improv song, which was really funny. Excellent. That sounds lovely. And I'm glad that people are managing to enjoy life in these difficult times. Sorry, I'm just going to put on my top, not because I want to be more red, but genuinely because I am feeling a wee bit chilly. Um, wait, there we go. Okay, so um, we'll see if I ever need this body warmer when I head um, east, west. I mean, when you're pretty much around others, I think the plane will technically fly east. But anyway, when I go to Thailand. Anyway, so what's next? And questionably quick questions. If anyone has any questions for me, then please get them in the next 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to skip this section. And so, yeah, you've got about 4 minutes to get literally any questions. And as long as they are respectful, you know the line. I trust you all. I will, yeah, talk about them. So, questionably quick questions. Let's see what So, oh, just this minute, Rob received a few copies of the new edition of Mindleaf. Mindleaf. Um, why? Why a few copies? Why did you get multiple copies? I mean, what's up with? Yeah, why would you get? I mean, Mindleaf, that's a really good game, but why are you getting multiple copies, Rob? And hello, Jess. I was just talking about. Jess, you made me laugh so much yesterday. Lots of love. Oh yeah. So Rob gets one copy of Mindleaf and can give presents. Yep. And yep. Okay. So quickly questionable questions. I've got 3 minutes to get them in. Okay, so Alex asks, if I could be any coin for a day, what would I be? Oh my gosh. Okay, so my first thought was about British coins because that's what I'm familiar with. I'm thinking about, you know, the 2p piece, the little 1p piece, you know, they're bronze, different sizes. Maybe I want something with angles. And then I was thinking, hey, maybe I want something with a hole in it. Like, you know, I think some Asian money has holes in it, but, you know, most coins are just flat discs. I think I would like to be a coin with a hole in it. I don't mean that in a. Someone could take that very much the wrong way, but genuinely, I think it just feels a little bit fancier. Although, you know what I also like is the £2 coin. Not just because it's more valuable, but also because it again feels fancy because you've got two different colors. It's a bit shiny. It's like, oh, you've got multiple colors going on. Look at you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like out of the coins that out of the British coins, yeah, that or the 50p. I think I would choose the £2 just because it feels fancy and I like to be fancy. Out of all the coins, I'd probably have to do more investigation, but something with like angles around the outside and a hole in it in the middle. Would I prefer a mic-sized meeple or a meeple-sized mic? I'm assuming that this is a duplicate of Mike, and you're talking about Mike Nudd. So let's assume that, I mean, it's got to be a meeple. Look, we get into the ethical question of how did this meeple-sized mic come about? Am I just shrinking the mic, or am I bringing another Mike Nudd into the world? Because if the latter, and if this Mike Nudd is going to have a reasonably healthy, happy life, then I would choose the meeple-sized mic for sure. Meeple-sized mic seems all the way. If I could be any fruit for a day, what would I be? Well, my favorite fruit is mangosteen. Jess, do you still get mangosteen in Thailand? I love mangosteen. That is my favorite fruit ever. True story. Yeah, I do like mangosteen. I mean, it's purple on the outside and it's white on the inside, and it's got this tanginess and this sweetness. I'm tempted to go with that just because I love it so much. But on the other hand, like if we count a tomato as a fruit, then, you know, because it's red but now I'm thinking, if I could be any fruit for a day, if I get eaten, does that mean that I die? That's the question now. So it feels like really what I want to say is I want to be the most horrible fruit. I want to be one of the really hard pears in our garden, like one of those pears, because not a nice pear. These are not nice pears. These are pears that you need to work to cut up and then you need to cook. And if you don't turn them into compote or jam or stew or something, these are not good pears. So at least that way, I would be assured of surviving the day. And yeah, that's what I would do. Um, so yeah, apparently Thai money is very colorful. That sounds really fun. Um, and apparently Alex would be one of those 2Ps you get in arcade machines. Oh yeah, like kind of so you're experiencing the ride. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That yep. Oh yep. And Jess is a lot of love for mangosteen and can see me as a mangosteen, yep. Oh no no no, not langosteen. Mangosteen. I mean no, I love durian. Durian is wonderful. Durian is exotic. Yeah, I love durian. Um, and we watched Edge of Tomorrow yesterday, which is a time loop movie. What do I think of time loop games? I mean, the only one that I can think of is that times no. What? It's the one that I've still not played. Is it Time Stories? Um, and there's also that one by Redacted. I guess no, there's that one that Turksy quite liked. Um, Honestly, I've not played any time loop games. I do like the notion of time travel. I really like time travel as a theme, but I feel like time loop in a game it's kind of just almost a cheap way in some ways. But I'm really keen to play time stories, and yeah, I'm sorry I've not played enough to have an opinion here. But yeah, maybe when yeah, I'm not going to buy it anytime soon, but maybe when I go to Thailand, who knows? Maybe I'll get a chance to play it at a board game cafe. But yeah, um, and so durian smells of the bin, says Jess. I mean, I'm just going based on the durian that I've had in Singapore. I really like durian. Um, and I mean, I don't have an informed opinion. Let's put it that way. I mean, like how informed an opinion has to be. Like how informed does an opinion have to be even for these reviews? Like that's the question. Like, look, out of the games that I've played today, as I said at the start, I've played this loads. I've played this once. I've played this once, and so, this is kind of first place. But, by the way, during the reviews, I am going to be responding to any comments about the games, but I'm going to get Chris to then slice these up and put them onto Board Game Geek later. So I will sort of be a little bit more topic during the review, but then I'll go off topic during it. And Rob says they have a no durian sign in the office. But I assume that there's not much chance of people actually bringing durians in, given where we are. Let me talk about a typical day recently. So the past week, honestly, it's not been great. It's been kind of a. I mean, honestly, like by the time it was Sunday mid sun like yeah, last week I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to write off the rest of the week. I have been really good at brushing my teeth. Like I've remembered to brush it at least 2, sometimes 3 times a day. And, I've not been doing the salt water thing as much as I could. Apparently the salt water, it just helps as a cleaning process. It's not just for when you're in pain. The dentist told me, do keep doing that. Early in the week, last week, the drugs made me vomit and headachy and stuff, and now I'm feeling less headachy. But yeah, it's just been getting up, doing the stream and then quite often going back to bed. And yeah, Wednesday, like I was doing work with Chris, and yeah, it's just been that, and maybe footering around on social media. Oh, I got a new book. I got this book. It's a clickbait title. I've only read through this much of it so far. It's really good. It's about the way that our brains work. It's about how to teach in terms of games. It's useful. And from the forward from Brenda Romero, formerly Brenda Braithwaite, yeah, it was a really interesting story about kind of player-centric design. And so that's, so far, good book. But, you know, there's a lot to read of it, so that's not a very informed opinion either. And I've been reading wee bits of it here and there. So someone once brought in durian-flavored biscuits, and it was enough to stick the place out. Yeah, durian is like amazing. And yeah, maybe one of these weeks I'll just review all the books that I have and stuff. Anyway, yeah, we could totally have a book club. Yeah, if you want to, if we were to have a book club, I would actually really like to encourage people. If you want to make a book club, I don't know where I think it's on the other side of the room, and I'm not going to run over there right now. But if we want to have a book club, I would suggest the book by Jeff Engelstein and Isaac Shalev, Building Blocks of Tabletop Game Design, which is like all about the different mechanisms. I'm kind of reading it quickly. I started off reading the first few chapters and looking up all the games on Board Game Geek, making sure that I understand everything. But I'm going to read it through once, and then I've almost finished that one. And then I'm going to, at some point, read it a bit more thoroughly. And I was thinking, you know, it would be good to even go through these things one at a time. Like, let's go through each of these things, and those could be topics for some of the shows for a good few years. And let's terrible oh man, terrible plot line. Well, if you buy that book for the plots, then you're in the wrong place. Anyway, so this is my typical day, and yep, there we go. I have been, not today, but I've been getting a little bit better at eating breakfast, sometimes even having some things before my show. Now, as we go into the main topic, do feel free to comment, ask questions. Of course, do the whole like follow thing if you haven't already. And if your comments and questions are on topic, then I will answer them in the middle. And if they are not on topic, then I will answer them in between stuff. So let me, let's go in the order that I said. So starting from the game that I have the least to say about, let me maybe move this. How far can I get it without making things fall off my desk? Boom. Okay, I think that works. And let me move. There we go. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Jess. Other questions? Have I had breakfast today? No, I haven't. I got up at 8 o'clock. I did have a very big dinner last night. I had an oven-made thing. I actually talked to Quang last night as I was making dinner. I had a fish. I had like 8 chicken strips, and I had a little portion of chips. And so I was like, you know, this is quite a lot. And then I watched a video about how Japanese people have really small portions and stay slim. But yeah. Pardon me. Anyway, yeah, Quang is lovely. And yeah, Xate does get a day off. Oh, I should go into mod view. Having said that, why can't I see mod view? Oh, I mean, Alex is here, but just in case Alex leaves, I'm in mod view, because if I don't, what I discovered, it's quite shocking, because if someone says something nasty and I'm not already in mod view, I can't delete it retroactively, which is quite sad. And so, yeah, Rob, I mean, yeah, I mean, being a moderator is a bit of responsibility. So I don't know if Jess necessarily wants that responsibility. So, yeah, I talked to Xates last night. They are doing well. Honestly, I had to vent. We had a 45-minute conversation with Xates. That was also the highlight of my day. Girls Game Shelved, and chatting to Xate, and then chatting to Quang, and chatting to Mike. Basically, interacting with people. This is always the highlights of my day. Sorry, I've not even started a review yet. And so, yeah, there's a clear chat function. Huh? I don't... Okay. Okay, yep, that's just wants to avoid responsibilities. Talking of moderation, Japanese food is healthy for sure. And thanks for warning me, so you might not be able to moderate, but if it's just robots, then I guess to think about robots is like, at least as long as you get to them like within a minute, it doesn't really make any difference. But oh, I think Jess is saying that that would not be a good thing if Jess was a moderator. But yeah, okay. You're still a VIP in my heart. Wait a minute. Why did you why did you time out? Oh man. Oh. Okay, so Jess said someone moderates me, and then Alex actually timed out Jess for doing for like 1 second. So mean, ha ha ha. Yeah, anyway. Okay. I see what's happened there. Okay, fine. Anyway, before I go on to the main topic, I think everyone's on my Discord. It's going to return January the 9th. We've got 3 games so far. I think I want to have 5 games, like 4, maybe 4 from other people, 1 from myself. So we've got Eric Slaussen's the one I'm most excited about, because they are the non-UK representative. And Alan Paul again, the Scorer from ITB, and there'll probably be something from the Aldeck, and I might talk to Alex another time about getting that working digitally. Anyway, let me get to the main topic. And so the main topic, Mind Out, first impressions. Okay. Children, calm down. Okay, now, does this kind of work with the just the dots as that name? Anyway, so start. Mind Out, first impressions. Maybe I can lower the camera a little bit. Yeah. Mind Out, first impressions. It's designed by Lewis Shaw. It's illustrated by Alex Nikiforov by Braincrack Games, which is self-published by Lewis's company. It's got a bunch of things. It's 2 to 4 players. I've played it with 2. It took a bit less than 40 minutes. Get some cards. You've got these rules online, English rules in the box. So you open the box, and here are the rules. So full disclosure, firstly, I might have a professional relationship with Braincrack Games. That's the first thing I want to say. Secondly, full disclosure, I have only played this game once, and so everything that I say is going to be based on one play of the game. Yeah, that's my full disclosure, and I found it unsatisfying, and I'm going to go into a little bit about why. So, Lewis Shaw has also been on the show a few times, so full disclosure, Lewis Shaw I consider a friend, and yeah, I think that, yeah. So everyone starts off. I'm going to set up the game just for one player, even though it's not a one-player game, but this is essentially a very low interaction game. Almost multiplayer solitaire, you could say. Almost, because there's one action you can do in the game, which is blow up other people's cards with your dynamite. But that's literally only once for the entire game. The entire rest of the game is just building up your own area and trying to go around with your miner and get little gems and be efficient and try to get gems and buy these things which allow you to do more stuff. And so, yeah, how you set up the game. You're going to have a grid of cards, and essentially it's like a 4x3 grid, and you start off with that space and you rotate it however you want. Oops, I need to raise the thing a little bit. There we go. Okay, so in case you can't see, on each card there are 9 spaces, so it's a 3x3 grid, and it expands into a bigger grid for the game. This is the little dynamite that you get, which is all about being really mean. This is the person that keeps track of where you are, and these are the little things that keep track of, hey, how many spare actions do you have? You can have 3 actions per turn by default, and you can store up to 2 actions per turn. So yeah, let me shift those so they can be seen. These are the things that you could buy later. You are going to get green and yellow and red gems as the game carries on, and they give you 1, 2, and 3 points each. You start off here, and that would be immediately mined because I am on the space where it is mined, and that goes 45 degrees. Now, on my turn, I could go 1, 2, 3, and then I pick up a yellow thing because second level is yellow, and I might say, okay, I really want some yellow things, and then that is my third action. And then other people do stuff, and next turn I might go 1, 2, and get another yellow bit. Now, each time you mine a gem, it's going to be turning, and then the second time it just goes away, boom. And so you get thrown off to an adjacent thing. And so I'm going to choose to come on this. Actually, I should choose to come on this side. And so, wow, I get a red gem. Amazing. And so now, I can't remember how many turns I've got on this particular thing, but you can see one of the things that I can do. So you can move. Oh, I completely messed up. So it's 1 to move left and right, 2 to move downwards, 3 actions, all 3 of your actions to buy one of these things, or 1 to dynamite to blow up someone, or 2 to use this thing to make it to put one of these sticks in place. What I might do actually is go down here or go up here and go 1, 2, and then find another yellow thing, see what's going on here. Oof, hello, and eventually spend my 2 gems, and you buy this, which allows these things to not collapse. And once you've got one of these barriers in place, you can just keep going back and forth to keep mining these gems. The only way that someone can stop you is by using a little bit of dynamite to blow you up. This dynamite, and once they've used up that dynamite, then maybe you go down, and then you're like, okay, I'm grabbing some more yellow gems, And now I'm going to find another space where, okay, I'll choose the orientation. I'll go here. And so I'll be grabbing yellow, red, and then by all of these, all of these allow you to do different things. The spade allows you to, for 1 green, 1 red gem, you can go down at the cost of 1 action point rather than 2. The ladder allows you to go upwards for a cost of 2 action points, whereas previously you could not. The minecart allows you to keep more things in your area, and the coffee allows you to get 1 extra action point per turn. I mean, for sure, it feels like you want to get these 2 as soon as possible because that makes you efficient. And then maybe one of these, if you don't need this, then I guess get the minecart first and then go up here, and then you're definitely going to win. And each time you buy one of these, you do get 1 fewer points, because if you look at the other side, green, yellow, and red normally gives you 6 points. By buying this, by spending those free action points, you're actually losing 1 point. And so it's not actually an efficient thing to do, unless by losing that 1 point and spending those free action points, you're going to be getting free action points worth of utility later. So there is definitely a bit to think about, and there's definitely a feeling of engine building. And for someone who's maybe new to games, it's like, oh, boom, I can make a little map, and now my person can go boop, 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 collecting red and yellow gems, and you keep going. Let me bring it down, and sorry for the shaky cam. Like yellow, red. Anyway, so that is an overview of the game. So what was my experience like? I played this against Layla. I won by, it was about 40 something to 30 something. So, you know, not a massive difference. I just had an engine where I was just going back and forth, and Layla blew up one, and then I found another one, and then just went back and forth. That seems to be the way that the game's always going to go. Layla, conversely, tried to do a lot more exploration, because you do get 2 points. So you get points for your gems. So every gem gives you this many points. You get points for these, but remember, you will have spent gems to make these cards, so you're essentially losing 1 point. And you get 2 points for every mine area that is still visible. Layla was exploring the map and trying to go around. I was basically just concentrating on going down, making my coffee, making my spade, and then I don't know. So it's a fine game. If you haven't played many games, then I guess maybe it would take you a little bit of time to work out what to do. It just feels like it's a game that I'm not sure it has anything more to offer. I mean, at this point, we are definitely going to play it a second time, so I'll tell you what I think after the second play, but I just don't see how the game can feel different. I don't see any alternate paths. I don't see any. I just see it as, okay, you're probably, we talked about it a while, and there's probably more utility in the spade than the coffee, and the spade is easier to access. So you're probably going to get the spade, then the coffee, then make your barrier and do that, then make another barrier and get another engine after the first one's been blown up, and that's the game. And it feels like that is always going to be the way it goes. It's like first time, maybe we were just exploring it. Second time, I would expect it to run a particular way. And then third time forwards, if people know what they're doing, I guess it might vary if you've got 4 players, because everyone's got this one stick of dynamite. And if everyone targets BEZ, if everyone's like, okay, we're going to be mean to BEZ, then for sure that will change the game. But I don't know, it just feels unsatisfying. It didn't, I guess, there wasn't, when I moved back and forth over two adjacent pieces going boop, 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 like all I had done to be able to achieve that was to grab two yellow gems to put down this little support stick to keep the mine from caving in. And that doesn't feel like, oh, I've been clever, or oh, I've done a cool thing, or I've done a secret thing. And so I don't know, I didn't feel fulfilled, but maybe that's because I've played so many games at this point. And that's the thing, like, it's difficult for me to, if, again, if this is a game where you're thinking of sharing it with people who are haven't played a game where you're kind of building a little engine, where you're building things that allow you to do other things, but that whole notion of just going back and forth on the same card, because this seems to be the win state of the game, going back and forth on one card and turning up a card that has two things next to each other. I mean, I might be missing something, but that to me seems to be like how you win. And that just isn't that exciting. And yeah, I feel bad, and I felt conflicted about doing this because, you know, as I said at the start, I do have a potentially professional relationship with Brain Crack Games. But yeah, I'm not going to, so I try to not be overly negative. So I try to say, what do I love about this game? I really like, I like the graphics, I like the illustrations, I like the graphic design. I mean, the fact that, you know, the little gems, they all have different shapes. So the green gems are kind of extruded hexagons, and these are kind of like crystals, and these are like pointy things. That's good. And I do like how green and red, technically they look different. So all the reds look the same, and all the greens look the same. So if you're colorblind in theory, once you know, okay, this one's a green, then I could say, okay, this one's a green. So therefore, even if I couldn't tell color at all, I could tell which one is a green just because it follows the same pattern. I think there could potentially have been more to distinguish them, but I still appreciate like the attention to color blindness. I do think like the design of everything, it's fun. It's yeah, engaging, and it's clear. It's got a fair bit going on, but it's not too difficult. And you've got this card that reminds you of, okay, everything that I really love a good reference sheet. I think that's a good reference sheet is brilliant in a game. Because, I mean, how many times have you played a game and you're just like, what's my options? What can I do? But here, it says right here, move left and right, you pay one action. Move downwards, you pay two actions. Get a new coffee or any of the cards, you pay three actions. Dynamite, one action. And these little support beams, two actions and two of these crystals. Although Layla thought that was just one crystal, but so that's potentially confusing. But I mean, for the most part, it's really, I mean, I'm not sure how that could have been made clearer. There was just a, okay, no, that says two actions and two yellows. And then it's like two per thing. This is how you score at the end of the game. It's 2 points per that. 1 point for all of those, and then you plus that, and 2 points if you've not used your thing. And so like little things in circles are points. Like it's really consistent. It's really clear. I really appreciate that graphic design. Lewis Shaw has done a brilliant job of that. And yeah, what else do I love? I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about one thing that I don't love. Just gaining gems. This is one thing that I'm genuinely unsure about, and I should just ask Lewis because I can. I mean, I could ask Lewis, and I'm sure Lewis would tell me. But look, I put my person here. I'm meant to turn it 45 degrees. Now what happens? Now it's 45 degrees. Does that mean that this is left and right? Or is this still left and right? does what is left and right stay as what is left and right? Do you get what I mean? So let's say these were the two cards. So would I go boom and then go to discard? Would I basically be making discard into a 4 square space almost? Do I go here and then I go down and then now I can go here? Like, so I can't actually go this way, kind of like I'm a bishop. That was slightly confusing. How, because turning 45 degrees to make it shaky and knowing which way to move left and right, that definitely confused me a wee bit. And we couldn't find a clear, other than that one aspect, the rules are clear. There's also a cheeky wee reference to I imagine Peter Blankarn and I imagine Hyacinth and Ursulite are other people. That's cute. And yeah, it's like nicely laid out. It is, and like the box is, you know, it's nice and shiny, and like I don't know if you can see like it's spot UV, but it's not just okay. The whole thing is spot UV. Like some people who do this for the first time, it's like, okay, just a few gems shining and like the title of the game. It's well, actually now I'm surprised that they didn't, but yeah, I mean, it's a nice game. I will and so what will I do with this game? That is the conclusion. I'm not going to say what I think of this game. Who should buy this game? Who should get this game? I think that someone who is not really a gamer, someone who's maybe still working out how to build engines, and someone who's potentially going to find satisfaction in just essentially going left, right, and doesn't need, because the thing is, for me, if I want satisfaction in a game, I want to feel like, okay, I've really earned it, like I've done a lot. I want to feel like, okay, I've set up this big giant plan. But maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want a simpler achievement. And if you're satisfied with a simpler achievement, then maybe this is a game for you. Maybe this is a game that you might enjoy. And so, yeah, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to probably play it a couple more times, at once, maybe twice, and then sell it on. That's what I imagine doing with it. I'm going to check with Lewis about that 45-degree roll, because that was genuinely confusing to me. Oh yeah, here we go. Boom. And so yeah, that was Mind Out. And so if anyone has any questions about Mind Out, or those people who are watching live, please let me know and I will answer. So Mind Out. I personally did not enjoy it. You might. It's definitely not a bad game. It's you know, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Okay, I guess that's the end of review. Okay, so that's the end of my review, and I'm going to take off that screen so that Chris can see it, and let me do. Whoops, sorry about that. So let me look at the comments again. Firstly, I am really sorry about your air conditioning blowing up. Lots of love, and I hope you manage to get fixed. But you know what, just go, it's your own apartment, just go topless and just get sweaty. And I imagine there will be lots of going to the sink and dabbing yourself with water. But yeah, lots of love. And yeah, so if no one else has any questions, then I will go to the second game, which is another one that I've only played once, which is Manhattan Project. Okay. Pardon me, I'm very sorry. I'll put the other AC on and open the middle door. As long as things don't come in. Rob played Manhattan Project once a few years ago. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts at the end of this, and like just in the middle of this, if you want to chime in, like what you thought of it and what you didn't like. I did get one rule completely wrong, which is it didn't affect the game, but it's affected what we chose to do, if you know what I mean. So we didn't anyway. Okay, so this is a first impressions video for the Manhattan Project, a game by Brandon Tibbetts. I'm going to raise the camera because I think we're going to need a little bit of space because this is quite a big game. Firstly, I really like this. Okay, can I actually address the theme first of all? Because it's a weird one how we are so desensitized to violence. And I really should do some sort of group chat about violence in board games because, you know, war games, and this is obviously a game about creating nuclear bombs. And when I played this, I was like, hey, wait a minute, are we doing something wrong? Let me check on Board Game Geek because something feels wrong. And then while I was looking there, I chanced upon someone talking about how they felt icky about this, and then that threw me down a rabbit hole where now I'm reading about Jack the Ripper and people saying, okay, maybe Jack the Ripper isn't a suitable topic. And I feel like that's probably out with the scope of what I'm going to be chatting about today. But I certainly don't have any I don't have any formed opinions, let's say. I don't, but what I will say is that the game doesn't feel like it glamorizes the building of the nuclear bombs. It feels like, yeah, sure, in this game, it's all about building bombs. The only way to get points is by building bombs. You are going to be this is board, this is the player board, these are the player pieces, and for the individual colors, this is, and let's say for a two-player game, you had red and purple, because those are clearly the best colors. And those are the generic people, and you're making yellow cake, which is some sort of uranium. That's something that I learned. And then you want money, and you want planes, and you get espionage, and you buy buildings, and you potentially detonate things, and then it's all in order to build bombs. And bombs are literally the whole point of the game. So, yeah, but as I say, it doesn't feel, and these are sorted only because when we finished playing, we did kind of do a little bit of a looking through the cards and trying to analyze what we were looking at. And look, again, regarding the theme, yes, you are building the bombs, but it doesn't. And so, yes, this is the win objective, but it doesn't feel like it's saying this is something that humans should be doing. It feels like a setting, and so you need to make your own judgments. And I'm not going to say it's right to play this game. I'm not going to say it's wrong to play this game. You need to make your own judgments on that. I feel like this game doesn't make a statement. The game itself uses it as a setting, but it doesn't say bombs are good or bombs are bad. Okay, with that being said, let me get on with this and scoosh this slightly out of the way. Okay, let's start off with the rules. The rules I felt were really good. I love the way that it looks kind of like a newsprint, and it's like 3 cents, and it's got this nice kind of grey background. It's got this dark typography. It does fit the theme. It is a big manual, and there are a lot of examples. I read this at the same time as playing it. So basically, I went, Layla and I met up, we had dinner, and we were like, okay, we're going to meet up on, I think we might have played something on Thursday or Wednesday, we played Mind Out, and then Friday we played this. It was like, okay, we don't have enough time to play this, but let's play a big game on Friday. And then we're like, okay, we had a dinner, and then it was like 11 or 12, and then I think it was 11, and then we played it. Okay, full disclosure, I didn't go into the full disclosure. Okay, so the way I bought this game secondhand off of Big Cuck Facebook group. I paid about £20 for it, I want to say. I decided that I was interested enough in the game to try it, mainly because of the espionage system. I was really interested to try it because I had really enjoyed Energy Empire, and I was, okay, let's try the earlier game. I have also played the card game version of the Manhattan Project, Chain Reaction, I believe it's called. Chain Reaction, having played this, I can see how it follows a similar sorts of bomb building system. And so, yeah, full disclosure, I have only played this once. I played it once, 2-player. I read the rules as I was learning on the night. It's, Layla's got a bit of patience. I will read, and then I'll ask Layla to kind of put things around and try to read quickly and teach it. It's laid out in a really good way with the instructions. I was really impressed. And the only bit that I got wrong was the airstrike, because the important thing is that with airstrike, you are allowed to do, for some reason, I thought that you could do as many fighter attacks as you want, but only one bomber. I don't know why I thought that, but you can actually do as many fighters and as many bombers at the same time, and all in one big airstrike, which would have definitely meant that we would have used airstrike. I mean, Layla would, but having said that, I did manage. Anyway, so bear in mind that there's one entire part of the game that we did not use because I misunderstood the rules, so I made it worse than it's meant to be. Also, espionage. This is one entire part of the game that we did not use because I feel like it wasn't to my benefit to use it. I still won. And I feel like maybe Layla could have used it, but for whatever reason chose not to. And so there is definitely a big part of the game that we did not use. Also, we did not use the plutonium part of the game. We played the game entirely only with uranium bombs, not as a house rule or anything, just like that seemed more efficient. So we chose to only use the uranium bombs. Okay, let me show you what. Let's pretend that purple is kind of in their own place over there. Let me pretend that I am playing red because why not? You've got these different. Let me give a quick overview of how this game works. You've got 3 types of people. You've got these generic workers that are faceless, and Layla's wasn't too happy with that. It's like, why are all the workers faceless? I mean, that was Layla joking, by the way. That wasn't Layla. Anyway, you start off with them. You've got these engineer people who have little hats and shirts. And you've got the scientist people who have the little glasses. I think there's really cute iconography. And so, yeah, I just think it works really well. I mean, Come on. Are they not cute? Look, little people. Is that not? And you can, just from their little faces, you can see what's going on. And there is really good iconography in this game. That is one thing I love about it. The other thing I love about it is this market. And so you're going to use these tokens to keep track of how many bombers you have. And you're going to use these tokens to keep track of your espionage and your uranium and plutonium. You use these to keep track of how much money. You start off with 10. This is not 10, but let's pretend I was going second, so I get 2 extra. Then you've got a bunch of bombs that in a 2-player game there would be 3 visible. And yeah, there's all these buildings. Anyway, let's talk about the buildings. I love this market. There's quite a bit going on in this game. I'm not going to explain everything, but okay, so starting buildings. So in this game, you've got a variety of different things you can do. It's all about placing one of these people somewhere and then doing a thing. Also, you're going to be getting these buildings which allow you to do more things. Also, you're going to be getting more people, which allows you to do more things. And so there's 2 kind of engines that you're constructing. You're constructing, and yeah, I absolutely agree with this thing on screen. Yeah, they are super cute. Now, there's like 2 things that you're really focusing on. There's a lot going on. So you're kind of either spending resource. You can take these people and then go to university. And so here you get an engineer, and then an engineer comes into your area. Or you could go here and then a scientist goes into your area. Or you could go here in the construction slot, and because it's an engineer, you get this for free, and boom, you get this university, all these other building cards shimmy along. And now, once you have a building, every time you take a turn, you can put down more people. So your person can go here, and then you're getting a new engineer. So that would mean that, okay, so there's 2 types of turns you can do. Either you place people or you do things. Maybe next turn I do that, and then I pay 7 because I can't get that for free. So I pay 7 money, because 7 money, that's the number on the top. Maybe you can't see it, but it goes 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14, 20. So it's kind of a bit of an escalation. Like, if you want the brand new card, you've got to pay a big chunk of cash for it. So you don't, even if there's a really, really good card, you don't get it for cheap. It's going to take a big time to save up for that. And if I go to that university, I put that person in, and boom, I get another scientist. I'm off to a good start. And now next turn, maybe I bring back all my people, and these people come back. Oh yeah, these should have shimmied along. And then ignore the fact that all the cards are kind of just red. But now next turn, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, maybe I'm going to go here. And okay, I've only got 5 money. I can't buy this because this is 7. Oh, I could go here to get more money, or I could go here to get more money. Okay, I'm going to go here because this is setting up my engine. I'm going to go here, and maybe I want that, because if I go here, then this moves along, and then the other person can get it for cheaper, and that's painful because that will be a pretty good card. Maybe I want the yellow cake. I don't know. That's a pretty good card. And like with these starting cards, you know, they are a lot worse than these ones, because these are the starting cards. These are the cards that you get late. Wait. Oh, that's a starting card. Okay. I mean, that's pretty darn good for a starting card, if you want my opinion. I'd say that is by far the best starting card, just because so I put down a person, and I'm like, okay, you know what? So I'm going to just go all for it. And then maybe I take this, and now I'm like, okay, boom, I'm putting down all my people. So I'm putting down person, and then I go like engineer, scientist, and I choose either a bomber or 2 money. This line's like this or that one. And so, yeah, it's like, boom, I get 2 money in your face, poverty. Boom. Yeah. Anyway, so like, this is a game. I guess that's the thing about satisfaction. Like, sometimes for a game to be satisfying, you need to overcome some odds. And yeah, so if you want to get, let's say now my opponent doesn't go there, then now I could pay 5 money. Well, I'm not going to put an engineer. I'm just going to put a standard person to take this one and get some people to go into my mine. And then I start getting my yellow cake. And yellow cake is what lets you build the bombs. And so just to reiterate, you've got green areas. Green areas, every turn, you put a person on one of these areas. And so I could have also put down a person here and then gotten free money. And this actually leads me to what I absolutely adore about the market. Because every time you go on one of these spaces, or every time you buy one of these free items, you put 1 coin on this bribe area. Now, what this does is it turns this into a more appealing prospect. So let's say that all these slots were filled up by buildings, and the one on the left, yeah, it's cheap, but no one really wants it. Well, now you're going to actually get money for buying this. It's like, as people go on, eventually there will be more money going on to here, and then it's, well, I can actually put down my engineer and get 3 free money and take this. That's pretty darn awesome. And then I put down a person and it gets another yellow cake. And so this is like a really nice system for keeping this and this moving along. This is so brilliant. Like, this market system. This is the best markets I've, like, this might be the best markets I've ever seen in a game. Like, I just can't get over how good this is. So anyway, you're going here, it can give you money. You could go here, it could give you aircraft. I'll explain that. The airstrike, okay, so let's say I've got this many aircraft, and this is where the player, this gets a bit mean. Let's say my opponent, okay, purple, has, let's say they're not as well off as me. Let's say they've got no bombers and they've got 2 fighter aircraft. So I go here with one of my people. Aircraft. Boom. I'm doing an airstrike. Now what that means is that first, I've got to take out their fighters. So they've got 2 fighters. Okay, every fighter kills another fighter. So I've got to kill 2 fighters, and I kill 2 fighters. And now bombers. Okay, 2 bombers. I can bomb 2 of their buildings. If I had more bombers, I could bomb even more of the buildings. And for every building that gets bombed, you put one of these little damage tokens on it to say, okay, boom, I'm going to destroy this one and destroy this one. You might not, it would probably be one of the better buildings that you get later on, but once a building has been bombed at least once, you just cannot use it. And to repair it, what you need to do is you go here and you pay money to repair it. There's the construction, which you saw me using to take buildings. There's the universities, which allow you to improve your people. And once you run out of people, you get these generic people. Now, these contract workers, as they're called, these contract workers just come to you for the turn. And so you could pop 1 person here and get 3 generic contract workers. So once you've got a lot of stuff on your board, it's like, hey, I've got so much stuff on my board, but I need more people. Well, boom, you got 2 bonus people, and then you put them down. Let's say like you've got something that takes 3 people maybe, or something where I could keep using these. I could be like, okay, I'm upgrading that to an engineer, I'm upgrading that to a scientist, and I'm using my scientist to help me build a bomb. I'll get to that in a minute. Mines allow you to get the yellow cake. This is where it's really important. Enrichment plants or plutonium plants. So you've got factories, you've got reactors, which allow you to turn things into plutonium. Generally, scientists and yellow cake. And again, look how cute the little icons are at the top. So you see, like, if they've got little glasses, they're scientists. If they've got little hats, they're engineers. Is that not cute? But yeah, reactors. So 2 scientists and either a uranium or 3 yellow cake. It goes to 2 plutonium. Universities turn people. Mines allow you to get yellow cake. Enrichment plants get you some uranium. And you can also do this all with spaces on the board. So here you could go here, but you need a scientist to come here and 2 yellow cake, and then you get to plutonium. Now, this is the typical way that worker placements works, is that once you've placed a person here, it's blocking everyone else, so other people can't do it. The only space that other people can do is construction. Now, let's get into the bombs. Bombs, you need to put a scientist and an engineer here, and you get n+1 bombs, where n is the number of players. And so what essentially happens is a person, you draft them. So person who went here chooses 1. Everyone else chooses 1. Person who went here gets the last one. So person who goes here is essentially going to get the best one and the worst one as a bonus. Everyone else in turn order is going to get something else. So in a 2-player game, let's say I'm playing against purple. I would get the best card. Purple would get the second best card, and I would get the worst card. And that is the way that bombs go. So when you've designed a bomb, that's just in your hand. You don't get any points for it. Now, let's say I've got a bomb in my hand. Let's say I had some uranium that had already, here's some uranium that I made earlier. And so what I need to do on a separate turn is put down an engineer, well, 2 engineers and a scientist, and spend 5 uranium down to 1. And then I get this in front of me. And yeah, that's 20 points. This is the only way to get points in this game. See, there is another way to get points, which is to load a bomb. So if you pay this amount of money, here it's free money. All of these cost free money to load. Don't know if you can, there we go. Free money to load. So all of these, by loading them, by spending a bomber and spending a little bit of money, you get 5 extra points. That's the second way to get points. Everything is all to do with the bombs, but, you know, if you think about it, there's plutonium bombs, which are one way. There's the uranium bombs, which are another way. There's the loading, which is a third way. And then the fourth way is, honestly, like, plutonium bombs are not worth it unless you're going to explode something. And so the way that exploding works is you get rid of one of your plutonium bombs, you're going to lose points, but then everything else, instead of getting the 14 points for this, you'd get 28 points. So by exploding 1 plutonium bomb, you get more points for everything else. Anyway, that is the game. That is an overview. There is a lot going on. I don't expect you to have taken in the rules, but hopefully that gives you enough of a flavor to tell you what kind of game it is. Now, let me talk about my experience with it so far. Played it once. I won by a wide margin. I felt slightly guilty, and I did have a really good engine. In theory, maybe, I think with espionage. Oh yeah, I never talked about espionage. So espionage, puts a person down, pay free money, and then your espionage token moves up 1. This means that you can block the other person from using their factories and buildings. And so, yeah, then you off. or goodness sake, there's so much going on in this game I've not even talked about. Every turn you're either putting people down or retrieving it. It's all about that timing. It's all about the notion of, when do I retrieve my people? When do I put people down? Where do I put people down? Which buildings do I buy? Where, yeah, that's which resources am I going for? And yes, it's all about the bombs, but there's many different ways to get there. And so with the espionage, when I retrieve people, that removes everyone. And so once I've removed everyone, if my opponent hasn't already gone there, well, then I could go there again, assuming I've got 3 more money. That moves up 1. And now if my opponent has any spare spaces on their buildings, then I could put a person there, which blocks my opponent from using those buildings, and it means that I get to use it myself. The difficulty with espionage is that there's a timing element. The first time I retrieve my people, the very next turn, I'm going to put down one person and put down one person on literally all of my buildings. So espionage doesn't actually block you by that much. I mean, I was expecting something a little bit more mean. Like Rob says that they enjoyed it, loved the flow of the worker placement and recovery, was put off balance by the take that and the threat of it, but it's an interesting aspect. And for sure, having a game that even has this possibility of going right into your opponent's buildings, that it's not just, okay, everyone places 5 workers and then you all take them off. Everyone places all their workers and then you take them off. And that's the way that lots of games go. And here it's put down workers. You can keep putting down workers and then take them off. And the advantage of taking them off is that you also free up your own personal building space. So quite close to the end, like I would say from about 1/3 of the way through, it was pretty much, okay, I'm going to put down people and put down everyone here and then take them off just so I can have another really big turn. Because yes, I'm wasting some of the people that I have. If I've not used all my workers, then in theory, I might be able to, instead of doing a bunch of stuff, then nothing, then a bunch of stuff, then nothing, it might be, okay, I've got a bunch of stuff, then one thing, then one thing. But sometimes it's just good to do that recall. And when do you give up your turns? When do you say, okay, I'm going to do absolutely nothing this turn? The other thing to think about, the interesting thing about this game is that sometimes it can take a long time to do a turn. So at the start, turns are going to be really fast. I put the thing down here, you build the building and grab a nice university and use it. I put down a thing here, you maybe grab another nice building, and then whatever. We're only going to do a couple of things a turn. But once you've gotten multiple buildings, there's going to be a big calculation where I might spend literally a couple of minutes thinking, okay, I've got all these things, and then I got to a state where I was just kind of putting them off, okay, that person's for that person, and kind of pre-calculating my next turn. And there is definitely a lot to ponder in your own little personal area. There's a feeling of developing yourself, of growth. I mean, if this is like something that appeals to us, that's a primal way, like just having more cards on your boards, like this sense of ownership, this sense of, hey, these are my people that I'm getting this. These are my buildings. And yes, people can come in and bomb your buildings. And that almost feels like quite an emotional, in theory, I mean, that never happened, but even that threat feels like it could be a violation of, whoa, I built this up and now you're using it. And now, but do bear in mind that you're only going to be able to do so much. I mean, you can, and this really means that you might have to start adapting to each other. And yeah, now I love this market. I think that the numbers are brilliant. 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14, 20. It just feels like a nice gradation, okay? for sure, if I were to say that this double mine is really good, but hey, later on you're going to get even better mines. I mean, look, you'll get to mine where one engineer can make 3 yellow cake, or 2 random people can make 3 yellow cake. I mean, all of the buildings that you get in the main deck are a bit better than the ones that starts off with. But the point is that you really need to build up and you see what's coming. And yes, Jess, it is an emotional game. It's a game that you strategize over, that you ponder, and then you work out, what am I doing? You develop your plans, and then someone steps in and scuppers you. Do you know what I mean? It's like all about that scuppering. I mean, look, there's a lot of games where you put little people on spaces and then you get to do little actions, and are called worker placements games, of course. I mean, for those who play lots of board games. I mean, but it's this game, it's like just oof. I mean, I almost feel like and it's okay. Let me take a step back. Let me say that one thing I am disappointed by is that these cards are a bit small. Not the building cards, I'm happy with them, but these bomb cards, just because the bomb cards are what the game is all about. And these are, for those who don't know, half-size cards. So when I compare them to the L deck, you can sort of see this is the size of those cards. It is literally half the size, just under half the size of a normal playing card. And yeah. So I just feel like when this is the entire point of the game, there's no space for it on the board. It's just, okay, put it wherever you want. It would have been nice if the boards were a little bit bigger and there was space for them. Secondly, it would have been nice if these were bigger, if these were full-size cards. I mean, like, if these were full-size cards, it would have just drawn a bit more attention to them. It would have increased that emotional reaction. And because games, and this is my publishing lesson, that like games, it's all about how it looks and the graphics and everything, but it's also about, you know, the size and the tactility. And if these were a little bit bigger, having that, ooh, you put down a bomb, but instead it's, I put down a bomb. I mean, if it was, imagine if it was, oh, I put down a bomb. Or even if it was a tarot-sized card, oh, I put down a bomb. I mean, that might be a bit overkill. But yeah, I would like to see proper size cards. And there is a lot of information on these cards, because you've got the name of the bomb, which is just for flavor. You've got the how many workers it takes to build that bomb, how much plutonium or uranium. You've got the loading cost, and you've got the victory points at the bottom. So there is a lot going on, and I think that it could have definitely been spaced out. Even though, yeah, I see that all of them have identical artwork, but you know, you could have, anyway, just made it a bit bigger, spaced it out, and I don't know. So who would like this game? Someone who's okay. Honestly, like, if you have listened to this much of the review, then you're probably okay learning the rules of this game, because, you know, it is one of those games where if you want to know all the rules before you start up, it's going to take you like 15 minutes or something just to learn the rules and properly internalize them. By the time you get, maybe it will take you even halfway through the first game before, like, okay, now I've got a solid understanding. Just remember, it's all about the bombs. It's either you can get uranium and make the bombs, or you can get plutonium and make the bombs, or you can get some uranium, make the bombs, and get the bombers and load them into the bombers. And this stuff stops other people from doing that. That's It's all about building more buildings. It's all about... Now, I would like to do a quick analysis of these buildings. Now, bear in mind, I have only played this game once. And so this is not based on empirical evidence. This is purely based on my, I guess, my experience as a gamer, as a game designer. And yeah, I just feel like some of these are a bit imbalanced. So let's... I just want to compare all of these cards. Okay. There we go. Okay. So here I am possibly doing a wee bit more analysis than... Oh no, you still can't see that properly. Let me go a little bit closer. And let me also do it like that. Okay. Hopefully you can make that out on the screen. So I'm going to order these in some manner that makes sense to me. And so the things that give you uranium, you can do 1 money, 1 scientist, and 3 yellow cake. That's one thing that I really love about this, is that all of these cards are unique. How cool is that? And so 1 money, 1 scientist, 3 uranium. 2, so basically you're always paying 4 things, whether it's money, whether it's yellow cake, for 1 uranium. Okay, that feels fair. Okay, now let's look at the 2s. You're paying 7. Okay, that feels fair. Okay, you're putting a little bit more work in, and so you can only get... Okay, you get a bit more efficient. 8, 4, 2. Okay, that's pretty good. 7, 4, 2, 8, 4, 2. Okay, 7, 4, 2, 7, 4, 2. Okay, some of them are maybe... Okay, now for 3, how many is it? Is it 12? No, it's 13. Okay, so but maybe it works, because at the point where the only thing that... remember, you're also being more efficient by this, by having only had to buy it once. So you're saving actions. And yes, nice pun. And I think that these are really well balanced. That's my analysis of these. Okay, let me actually leave the factories to last. So he starts off with the hardest to analyze bits. Now let's look at the reactors. So these reactors can give you lots of plutonium. As you see, it goes all the way up to 4. Sorry, let me make use of the whole screen. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so 1 goes to 1. Here, 1 uranium or 2 goes to 1. This is not as efficient, but it offers you flexibility. Okay. 1 uranium goes to 2. That makes sense. 1 uranium or 4 goes to 2. Okay. So it's a little bit more inefficient, because, yeah, I get... This is probably not as good as the others, but at a certain point, if it really clogged up the board, again, that's where the bribing is a really good mechanism. And I get that you can't have half a thing, and they don't want to make strictly betters within these things. I mean, personally, if I had developed this, I would have said that was 2 for 1, and this was uranium or 2 for 1. That, I don't know. But this is just... I would keep an eye on these. I don't know this well enough to be able to make any judgment. But there's a lot going on here, and I don't know how good this... There's a lot to think about, and you're only going to see a couple of these. Which one's better? I don't know. So it's 3 uranium for 2. Okay, so it's costing you 1.5. Okay, so it's costing you 1 and 2/3 approximately. Okay, so it's costing you 2 and a bit, but you get the flexibility. Again, check this out. This is pretty darn good. This is almost, I would say, the best one, where it's 1 uranium to 3 output. And so that is pretty darn solid. Okay, this costs more, but should this really cost twice as much as this one? This is like, my gut reaction feels like this is bad. And hello, Monique, it's lovely to see you. And we're just basically looking at, you know, doing an analysis of these cards in, yeah, it feels two per plutonium, and then 1.5 per plutonium, or that, like, this is like less than, okay, this is 2 and a bit per 2 and a third per plutonium, but you can, like, this kind of just feels like a stronger thing if you get this. I mean, here are 2 cards that one is clearly better than the other. Like, could they have made this is the question, like, could they have made the appropriate number of cards with no change? And this is another question, like, how much balance is needed? Because again, like Cosmic Encounter, we come to the question of maybe you don't need balance, because the designer of Cosmic Encounter on Ludology podcast, they said, oh yeah, balance is for wimps. And I get what they're saying, because remember, in this context, you do get to bomb other people's cards. You do get to espionage things, and things are going down the track. So actually knowing how good a thing is and knowing when to buy it is part of the skill of the game. So actually you could argue that having cards that are a little bit better doesn't make the game worse. Again, this is like, should a game be balanced? I am not sure. But then we've got the universities. Okay, this is like some crazy stuff going on with these universities. Okay, so this is like a more flexible starting one. I really like that one. Okay, 2 goes to the 2 engineers or 1 scientist. These ones, okay, so these 3 are not going to be that much use later on in the game. Sure, they can turn generic people into upgraded people, but they don't do that much for you. Conversely, these ones are amazing. These ones just allow you to up your efficiency later on in the game and start every new refresh with a couple more people. This one's strictly worse version, and yeah, I'm just slightly surprised that they didn't have a scientist going into generic people. It seems like a bit of an obvious choice, but hey ho. Now we've got the mines. So the mines allow you to get your yellow cake. We've already talked about that. And so there's the engineers. The engineers, okay. So we've got 1 engineer goes to 2 yellow cake. 1 engineer goes to 3. Whoa, you see, like, what I'm saying? Like, there are clearly superior things, but is that a bad thing for the game? I don't know. I don't know enough about this game to be able to tell. This is just my analysis based on first play, you know. And then 2 people goes to 3. Okay, this is clearly worse. This is like 1.5 per person. Okay, these are pretty good. 2 people goes to 3. 2 generic people. 3 generic. 2 minors goes to 4. Okay, that's getting a bit better again. I mean, later in the game, I kind of prefer having more flexibility in my buildings, but this allows me to get the engine going faster. So honestly, I don't know which of these cards is better. If you keep the, yeah, and so then 3 goes to 6. I think this is pretty good. This is not stronger than, I would rather have these 2 mines than this one on its own, because again, would you rather have flexibility, but you need to have spent 2 actions doing it and more money buying these buildings? Or would you rather have this one, which is good on its own, but you always need to pay the 3 engineers? But remember, sometimes you might refresh and then you don't use all 3 engineers. But if you don't, then your opponent can use the espionage. So there's a lot going on in this game. But then we come to the one that I just felt slightly guilty about. This is the 1 card in the game that I'm slightly unhappy about. I just think that should be a 4. And I think that these 2 are a bit good. Okay. So, factories are where you get money, which is really weird. I mean, factories giving you money? What's all that about? I mean, factories giving you planes. Yeah, sure, I understand. Okay, so one person gives you 2 fighters or 2 bombers. 2 people give you both. That makes sense. One person gives you one thing because it's just a generic person. Okay, here we go. Here's how we get money. 2 people gives you fighter and money. I mean, what we felt during our game, this is our experience, that money was really tight. And so for that reason, when I had both of these 2 cards. And so if you can't see them, this is 1 engineer goes to 5 money, and this is 2 engineers goes to 3 money and 3 fighters. And I just felt like, yeah. And we've got 2 generic people. Look, I don't know if this is overpowered. The thing is that it just felt overpowered. I mean, maybe that's a good thing, because maybe then would incentivize more bombing and more espionage, and maybe that's what they were really seeking. It just Layla felt sad that I had this thing and I was getting more money, and Layla felt like it was too expensive for Layla to be able to use the espionage, because there was never a good time for Layla to espionage, because I would take my people away. But if I was Layla, I would have espionaged, and maybe that's the lesson. We've got a comment from Rob, who says, let me actually leave it. So we've got, so Rob says, I don't know about this game in specific, but in general, perfect mathematical balance is a false grail. There are always so many other factors in decisions, and people's brains and interactions don't always work mathematically. And Alex has been told that the perception of balance is a lot more important. I would agree with both of these points. And maybe here the perception of imbalance is important. Maybe the fact that this one is 5, maybe you could say, well, why did Layla allow me to get that? Why did Layla allow me to get this one? And if we were to play it again, maybe that's it, that we just have to play it again. And so I will be interested to come back to this when I've played it at least a second time. I honestly feel like this is a game that I could imagine playing a good few times. There definitely feels like there's a lot more luck in this game than appears, because and what looks over or underpowered for new players turns out to be different for advanced play, and I will also agree with that. But the perception of the first game is important. Okay, so yeah, I really am interested in this game. There is luck, because in terms of what bombs come up determines what strategies come up. You need to roll with the punches. You need to be like, okay, let's just actually go through all of these cards, because we've started now, so I'll finish. So I mean, look, the workers, because you can recall, the workers aren't as precious a resource as your other things. So it's all about the plutonium. It's all about what can you get. So these are the ones that cost 7. These are the ones that cost 6. And this is where balance really, really matters. So cost 6 and cost 4. We'll put them around the side. So the ones that cost 7, okay, they vary from 30 to 28 to 34. You can see that it does cost more to load them, and there's more workers. The ones that cost 6, and so that's 28. That's 4 to almost 5 with the higher thing, or 2 to almost 3. Here it's a range of 3 point something to 4 on the higher end, or about 2 on the lower end. 5 is a range of multiplying your plutonium value by about 2 on the lower end, or about 2 on the higher end. And 4, it goes into about exactly 3 to 4 on the higher end or if it's exploded, or 2 on the lower end. It makes sense. This feels really nicely done. And again, I like how everything is unique and everything is, and there's a lot of numbers. There's so much to think about. I'm not going to say that it's very likely that this is not the best. This is not perfectly balanced because, you know, they didn't have the budgets of Magic the Gathering, and even that, you know, they still need to sometimes ban cards. But there's just a lot of really interesting calculations to make in, hey, which one of these is actually going to give you more points? Now, I will say that when we played it, uranium bombs seem to be the way to go. But having said that, I did look on Board Game Geek, and other people seem to be saying the opposite, which is always the sign of a great game, where you can say, okay, some people are saying uranium is good, some people are saying plutonium is good, so clearly it is balanced in some manner. And so, yeah, let's look at the 6s here. Okay, that's 5 times straight off the bat. Whereas, what was the high point? I mean, this is where I feel like plutonium just is not as good as uranium, but uranium costs more to get. So if you've got a good uranium engine, if you've got a good uranium, what were they called? Enrichment plants? Yeah. It's all about rolling with those punches. It's all about adapting to what comes up. And each game, maybe slightly different things are going to come up. And if you get a good enrichment plant this time, then go with the uranium. If you get a good plutonium reactor next time, then go with the plutonium stuff and kind of see how you get on. And you could go with all these really cheap cards, but then pay money to load them into bombs. And that would be, boom, I've done it. Alternatively, boom, I do this and I load one of them. Boom, I won the game. And yeah, so it varies from these ones. These are all cost a similar amount of workers to build these bombs, but there's a variance in how much it costs to load them up, as you can see, and are all a lot cheaper to load in general than the plutonium. And again, there's so much to ponder. I feel like if this is a game that would, let me tweak the screens, this is a game that would take a long time to fully analyze, but yeah, and yeah, you can get the best reward. And so yeah, Alex is talking about, yeah, there's opportunity costs here. It's all about that, when do you take things away, when do you skip a turn to get more workers to be able to reuse your buildings, what bombs do you build, when do you get to bomb, knowing that you're going to get 2 of them, but every opponent's going to get 1 of them? When do you what buildings do you get? There's like so much to think about, and every time you set up the game, it's going to be a new set of buildings. I am excited to play this again. I am confident that I would have fun playing it again. I think that it's one of those games where, obviously, with the number of players, it is going to be more chaotic, because this is actually fairly high interaction. Not only blocking off the spaces for other people, but also the espionage, the bombing, the which buildings get bought, which bombs get bought, when are other people going to do things. There's so much to ponder. And where's the box? One thing I really don't like about the box, this is going to seem petty, but it says 120 minutes. Sorry, there we go. 120 minutes. I mean, come on. Yeah, I get it's about 2 hours, but it's a 2 to 5 player game. I mean, come on. I get that with 5 players, you need like to build like maybe 6 bombs before someone wins, because maybe someone's like everyone's going. It's going to be about 10 bombs that are on the way, and then 2 players. It's going to be longer with 5 players. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm making this assumption that this game is going to be longer with 5 players, and so why would they not kind of let us know? Okay, it's this long, and with 2 players, it took us only 1 hour first time we played it. So that's lovely. I'm not complaining. It's a good game. It was nice. It took quite a short time. But frankly, if I'd known that it was only going to be 1 hour with 2 players, if it said on the box, about 40 minutes per player, let's say we were playing quickly, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, this is a game that we might even play tonight, even though we've only got an hour. I'll make sure to read the rules ahead of time, and so I can see. But yeah, for sure, it's going to be easier to teach. It's one of those games where if someone doesn't know the game very well, they are going to get a bit messed up. Make sure to guide them if you like pondering things, if you like setting up plans, if you like feeling clever, if you like having that emotional rush as things pan out for you. Then, so far, I'm enjoying this. What am I going to do with this game? I'm going to keep it, for now at least, and play it again. I don't know if I'll take it to Thailand, but yeah, it's definitely one that I will play at least a couple more times, because there's so much going on. And even though I might say that 1 card, maybe it should not be giving you 5 money, maybe it should be giving you 4 money. But having said that, you could argue, well, 5, it feels more exciting, and excitement is what you need in a game. And there's value in that. There's value in imbalance. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all, that there is value in imbalance, that there's value in being able to say, hey, there's this crazy card that comes up, and we will remember it. Next time we play Leyland, I will be on the watch for those exciting cards that pop up and be like, whoa, here it comes. And yes, it's like Cosmic Encounter. Again, I keep talking about Cosmic Encounter because that is the poster child for things being imbalanced. But oh my gosh, yeah, I'm almost going to say that I genuinely have a lot of love for this. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm excited. I'm going to see if Layla would be up for playing it again today. I mean, I don't know if... it's only took us an hour, so I think it's not that big a ask, certainly with 2 people. Is the box size reasonable? Well, oh, by the way, you get this completely random, superfluous thing. You don't need to remember who's first player, so there's absolutely no point in this token. I'm going to assume that was just because they had the space on the punch board, so it's completely superfluous. Oh, and you get some points if you explode one of your plutonium bombs. But it's meant to be a test explosion. Anyway, so yeah, the box seems like a reasonable size for the amount of stuff that you get. There's not too much air. There's... Hey, where did I put the boards? Oh, here. And it fits nicely. In theory, yeah, this box should not be any smaller because I've got just enough space for finger space. There, this box is perfect. The more okay, maybe it could have been, I don't know, about 1 centimeter shallower, but that is really picking. This is really good box. This is a really good box size. And sure, I can be annoyed at the 120 minutes, but look, this was a really good production from Minion Games. Good design from Brandon Tibbetts. Well done to everyone involved. And so I just want to say that's my conclusion. So that is my first impressions of this game in quite a bit of time. And Okay, so now I've ended that bit. I'm going to just try and apologize for. I see Monique is still in the chat. So hello, Monique. I'm sorry I didn't give you a proper hello when you popped in earlier. I'm trying to kind of be more on point with these reviews so that I can get Chris to separate them out and then put them onto Board Game Geek later on. But no, I just yeah, so and hello Yoda and Robert, it's lovely to see you're still there. Oh no, Rob says I've got 10 minutes for the other game. Oh no, Sunday is a special day. Sunday I just last as long as I want. Whoops. So Sunday and once every 100 episodes I just last as long as I want. But, oh, lots of love. And just checking out your... So that's, oh yeah, it is this call. And so yeah. What else did we have? And I know how it is when my brain is on. Okay, so the last game that I'm talking about today is Say Anything. And I could start sharing stories, but yep, let me get my banners up before I do the whole thing. This is a proper review. So this is not just a first impression, even though I have mislaid the rules, and I don't have any whiteboard markers in it either. Do I have the board? Yep, I do at least have the board and the main components. But yeah. I've even lost. Yeah, this is an old copy. I will show you everything in just 30 seconds, and here we go. I basically disappear from the world and get deep in thoughts, says Monique. I mean, it's genuinely also, it's not just because I'm streaming, it's genuinely because I want to keep it focused on this so that someone can watch. Like the reason that I'm doing these reviews, let me actually just... I'll take this off. The reason that I'm doing these is because partially I want to say goodbye to them. So Monique, I don't know if you heard that I'm going to Thailand in a few months, and this is a way for me to say, you know what, this is a really good game, and buy this game and I will sell it to you. And frankly, if you're watching this stream, then I'll sell it to you for $5 plus postage, because I like you more than I like random people. When I put this on Big Cock, I'll be charging more for it. But it is a really good game. But it's like a way to say goodbye to my games. It's a way to talk about Apex. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through all my entire collection before I leave and say goodbye to them. Do you know what I mean? And yeah. Oh, thank you. Anyway. So, back to the point. So, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Say Anything is a game that I had ages and ages and ages ago. I mean, okay, let me go back to when I first got into modern board gaming. Okay, full disclosure for this game, Say Anything, I have a lot of wonderful memories for it. I forged friendships over it. I have amazing memories. I adore this game. So I'm going to sell it because I've played it too much at this point. I've basically used up all the cards. I will always have a place in my heart. And also, it's by Dominic Krapachet, who I've started having conversations with, which is an amazing thing for me. And Satish Palalamari, who sadly passed away not too long ago. And so, yeah, that is it. It's free to 8 players, Monster Games. So let's get on. So Say Anything. What is it all about? What you get in... This is an old version of the game. This was printed... Let's see if I can find the date on the back. 2008. Oh, yes. Wow, this was printed the year that I got it. So it was really new edition at that time. You can even, I think you can see some discoloration, like this is slightly deeper color on one side of the box because of sunlight. And if you put on the, so you've got a spinny wheel, which is not a wheel to actually spin. It's meant to be a selection wheel where you kind of select secretly. Okay, I know which person's color I preferred. Do you know which person's answer I preferred? It was yellow, the one which is, and all of the colors are represented by these fun icons. So you've got the martini glass, laptop, guitar, like feels like it fits within the theme of the game, and it's also really good for colorblind folk. So yeah, good work. And then you've got these whiteboard markers, which again have the color of the player and a little icon in the corner, so it's really nice and accessible in that manner. And then you've got the little tokens, and the tokens are all colorful, and it's just a happy kind of, it's like this almost like 70s game show vibe, do you know what I mean? It's fun. And then you've got these questions. I am going to say there are a couple of questions that I find to be marginally problematic, in that if I were to rewrite them, I think there's about maybe, okay, 1 in 5 cards, maybe one of the questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 4% of the questions, I am going to say I just don't like how gendered they are. I don't like just there, it's not actually even that frequent. So you've got questions that are, what animals would make the greatest pets? Who's the best looking movie actor ever? And what's the best skill to have without needing? What's the worst thing about being a woman? I mean, yeah, I don't like that question. But a lot of, there are other options. So what's the best band name, and what celebrity would make the worst presidential candidate? Oh my gosh, this was, oh, those were better times, weren't they? Back in 2008. Anyway, so what really ticks people off? What would be the weirdest New Year's resolution? What would be the weirdest thing to collect? What's the worst thing about being a man? I mean, there's nothing about being non-binary or being, I think if you could be the opposite gender for a day, what would you do? I mean, again, I just feel like, there's a very, very small number of questions here that I hope you can sort of, what's the most annoying thing about being a woman? That kind of feels too similar. Like, what's the worst thing about being a woman? What's the most annoying thing about being a woman? I'm not even talking about the gender issue here. I'm just talking about the fact that it's repeating it. What would my pet say about me if I could talk? That's a good question. What's the most important thing in life? These are good questions. What would be the weirdest secret to hear about your mother? And all sorts of things. But I've not even, how do you even play this game? What on earth is it all about? Okay, you get yourself a whiteboard marker, which comes with the game, but after 12 years, they have all obviously run out. And someone flips over a card and says, okay, what's my biggest guilty pleasure? Everyone writes down some answer. So, oh, I really should get, where's my whiteboard? This is showing how unprepared I am. So, everyone writes down their answer, and then Brown writes, okay, your biggest guilty pleasure is watching the Spice Girls videos from 1990. And someone else says, you listen to Cher every single morning. And someone else writes, your biggest guilty pleasure is, and then they write something that's totally not PG, and I'm not going to say. But that's the thing, like, that's the thing about this game. You can make it totally family inappropriate if you want, or you can make it totally family friendly. And the bottom questions, the top questions are almost like the safest questions, like what's the best place to buy clothes, what's the best classic rock song, and then what's the most underrated movie of all time. Then the bottom couple are normally something that's a little bit more risque, something that you might not always want to ask, but if you feel comfortable asking, might lead to more interesting things. Like there was one one card that says, where's the worst place to wake up? And I thought that's how I had it. I wrote down, in midair, falling out of a plane without a parachute. I thought I would win. And I wrote down, and then I put it in the middle of the table. And then someone else put down, in a coffin underground. And it's like, yeah, okay, if you're going to die anyway, this is pretty dark, but if you're going to die anyway, maybe you'd rather fall and then splat rather than at terminal velocity, rather than having to be like, oh my god, I'm in a grave, trying to claw yourself out, trying to scream, and then you die. I mean, which one would be more horrible? So, yeah, the bottom questions can get pretty dark, or they can be, it all depends on, anyway, so once everyone's put down a thing, let's say orange, brown, yellow, and red were playing. So red doesn't play anything for this turn because red's the judge. And red's like, okay, you know what? I've decided that this is my favorite answer. Now, everyone had their own colors, and brown's like, okay, I'm going to bet on, okay, I think that listening to the Spice Girls, I'm fairly confident, and that not safe for work. You know what? I'm going to just hedge my bets. I don't know what I'm doing. Whereas orange was like, okay, you know what? Yellow, we totally agree with you. And then yellow says, you know what? Actually, I know that they do actually listen to Cher every morning. And I think that's what they're going to say is their favorite answer, because they're so into Cher. And so, yeah, I'm going to go all in on the Cher answer. And so then red says, okay, well, the actual answer was yellow. And orange is like, oh, brilliant. I put all my things in here. So then yellow would get 1 point for writing the correct answer. Orange would get 2 points for having bet both the chips on the correct answer. Brown would get 1 point. And that's it. So there's a maximum of 3 points. So if yellow had been more confident, yellow could have gotten all 3 points. The judge also gets a maximum of 3 points. So same as everyone else can get a maximum of 3 points, the judge gets as many points as there are chips on the answer that they pick. So this is kind of a way to keep the judge honest, if you know what I mean. So it's like if the judge says, hey, that was my favorite thing, because they don't want anyone else to get points, then, you know, basically if it stops the judge from just picking something that no one else would pick. It stops the judge from messing it. It keeps the judge honest. Basically, it's a little bit complicated compared to something like Blank Slate or Top Tail that you can just explain in 30 seconds. I mean, this one, it takes you a good minute to explain. And for people, okay, I get it. And then in theory, you play 12 rounds and then you add up the scores. You can play different ways if you want. You can play fewer rounds with different numbers or players. I think you're meant to play a certain number. It's meant to be like in this region. Will Wheaton, they just played to 12 points. That's the Will Wheaton house rule. If I played it on stream quite a lot earlier this year, and on stream, we played just about using the cards, and then everyone wrote on a bit of paper and showed it to the camera, and we only bet on one person. So to keep the spirits of the game, the person who the judge could get a maximum of 2 points. So yeah, I like this game because it's a party game that if you try to win, it still doesn't fall apart. Do you know what I mean? That is one of the things. So Alex here says, it's about the spirit of the game sometimes. if you're really trying to win, then you're playing it wrong, in Alex's opinion, of course. But I think that, sure, this is the question that you have to ask yourself. Look, does it bother you? Does it bother you that in snake oil, for, let's say okay, now I need to explain what snake oil is. So where everyone does a bit of a pantomime, and then the judge picks a person, and it's like, hey, you were the best, you get a point. So if you're playing to win in snake oil, you might say, hey, if I give that person a point, they're actually going to beat me because I'm tying with that person. We've got 5 points each. Oh, you know what? Even subconsciously, I'm going to give it to that other person because they were second best and they're not going to beat me. And so in snake oil, does that bother you? In a game, does it bother you if you're kind of feeling that, oh, I want to do this thing because it makes me win, but I want to do this other thing because it would be fun. Does that disharmony bother you? Because if it bothers you, then this is a brilliant game for you. Because I'm going to be honest, I am quite a competitive person. I mean, I think that at Girls' Game Shelf last night, I was the only person in the audience, possibly, who actually kept track of my scores. You see, like, I've got my little, you see my little tally? Like, I got 25 points. I mean, I know Benita and won, and then Fortessa got second. And, you know, I think I was like fifth or something. But, like, I was, like, in the middle of the ranking, and I had a lot of fun. And for sure, if I were running that game, I would have been like, okay, everyone puts in your things now, just to kind of, but look, I sometimes get a bit too competitive for my own good. Yes, really, for sure. And, but, like, you know, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy that blank slate last night that I played with Girls' Game Shelf, but I just love the fact that here, even if I am really trying to win, yes, the rules are going to be a little bit more complex. And yes, the downside of this is that it does make the rules more complex, because everyone, you get 1 point for writing the best answer as determined by the judge, and 1 point for each chip that you bet on it. The judge, you get 1 point for each chip that was on the answer that you say was the best answer, provided up to a maximum of the maximum that everyone else could get. So it's a maximum of 3 points per turn for everyone. Now, what this means is that, let's say brown, everyone thinks, oh yeah, orange, that's an amazing thing. And then I vote on yellow, let's say, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Then potentially yellow gets 1 point for still writing it, so I'm still giving a point away to someone else. But everyone's like, hey, wait a minute, orange gets nothing, even though orange was the popular vote. And this came up once in our game, and it can be a little bit unsatisfying. And so that is one bad thing about the game, that you don't get anything for the popular vote. For sure, if you want a game that's just streamlined and, hey, it doesn't really matter, then Top Tail or how much, you know, that's actually just going to Kickstarter. I don't think it's even been published, but, you know, that's actually a nicer rule set where it's just everyone points at someone, and the person with the most votes, they get 1 point. Boom, simple. It's it. Most popular votes. And that does require people to play in the spirits of the game. And yes, the judge decides before the bets are placed. So there is no way for everyone can play to win. Everyone can play like a serious cutthroat player. So this is basically a party game for people who are playing to win. That's how I'm going to describe it. If you are playing a party game and everyone's drunk around the table, it might be a bit more difficult to explain. And I guess maybe that's it, because I feel like I've kind of grown as a person. I'm not going to lie, like, it's kind of difficult for me last night to kind of get over the fact that, you know what, it's not about playing to win. I need to kind of rein in my competitive nature. And like sometimes when I'm winning by quite a bit, I make a point to kind of say, hey, would you like me to give you some tips? And when we played Manhattan Project, there was a point where Layla said, at this point, we're clearly going to win. The card that came up for the building, we've not had any plutonium reactors. I was just really going all in on plutonium, and I'm a bit annoyed, and I'm feeling fed up. So I was like, you know what, let's just pretend that the last card was a plutonium thing that just turned up. Because, yeah, it had been statistically anomalous. We hadn't gotten any plutonium stuff. So I've changed as a person. I've changed, and I'm like, you know what, let's fudge it in your favor if you want to, because if I'm just going to win, like, you should be able to at least do your thing a wee bit. And it's like, yeah, do you get what I mean? Like, in a way, maybe, well, check out the amount of usage that there. Hold on, I'm going to actually flip the. Check out how used that is. You can really tell how much this has been loved, very loved. But I think that this is a good game. This is a great game. This is a brilliant game for people who, if you've got at least one person in the group who is able to understand the rules, which aren't that complicated, to be fair, and is willing to keep track of the score. If you are willing to have at least, if everyone is comfortable with not being the popular vote, but being who the judge thinks is the best. And if you're comfortable with, yeah, given those two elements, and it's all about the wagers. This is basically Whitson's wagers, but for things that are a little bit silly. Instead of talking about, okay, how many steps are in the Empire State Building, it's what is the best way to waste time? There's a lots of ways to waste time. So I don't know what the best way to waste time is. Let's just have some crazy things. And honestly, like, some of these questions, I really like them. But would I... And most of the questions, even this version from 12 years ago, I'm sure they've been updated. And I think that for Whitson's wagers, like, recently it's been gone from 5 questions down to 2. And I think it's a similar thing here. Like, I don't know if it needed 5 questions necessarily. Like, 3 might have been a good number. Honestly, like, it just feels like, looking through it, there's probably about 4 questions that I'm like, yeah, I would not want that to be asked at my table. I would not want to be asked about, I just would not want to broach gender at my table. I'm sorry. Your parents are out of town. What happens at the party? I mean, really, that's kind of feels... And there is a big deck of questions, and there's a lot of good questions. Who's the best dressed celebrity? What's the sexiest personality trait for a man? I mean, again, why is it sexiest personality trait for a man? Why not just the sexiest personality trait? What's a husband most likely to forget? What's the best thing about being a woman? Who's the man with the master plan? I mean, times have changed, and we've all learnt, and I'm not, for sure what's the sexiest personality traits for a woman? And I don't like those questions. But on the other hand, I love the questions of what would be the most fun activity to do on the moon? What really annoys people? Let me bring this down a little bit. There we go. What would be the weirdest thing to collect? What should my gravestone say? Oh, what's the worst thing to say when your partner catches you cheating? Or what's the worst thing to have in your mouth? I mean, who would you be least surprised to find out is an alien? And those are from the bottom, and then from the top, it's like, where's the best place to buy clothes? What's the best spice? What's the best way to spend the day off when playing cookie? I mean, if you're able to come up with questions yourself as a group, you probably don't need this game. I mean, this game has two aspects to it. There's the whole, with any good party game, there's the rules, there's how you get points, how you do things, then there's the content. With Blank Slate, with Good Question, with Wits and Wagers, it's definitely all about the questions. And are these questions good? For the most part, yes. Yes, they are. I would say they are entertaining. They provoke good conversation. They allow people the opportunity to be fun. They allow people to have a bit of banter with each other. And so, yeah, I think this is a lovely game. But would I take it with me to Thailand? No, I wouldn't, because it's a big box. Maybe I might take these, but then that seems like a waste. I would like someone else to have the opportunity to play this. And so, yeah, that's why this one, I'm going to sell this game also. I just feel like, I don't know, I love this game, and I have so much love for it. I have memories of playing it with people who'd barely played any board games at something called the Language Tea Cafe in University of Glasgow, where everyone was just socializing, and we played Taboo, and I got Say Anything and was like, it was back when I started being into, oh, wow, Ticket to Ride, this is amazing, what games can do. And oh my gosh, Settlers of Catan, okay. Oh my gosh, Puerto Rico. And then I got this game and Wits and Wagers as party games, because that is why I've had so much fun with it. I would say that in the intervening 12 years, a tiny percentage of this game, and I kind of actually approached Dominic Krapichetz to say, hey, look, if you're doing another version of this game, I would love to be involved. That would almost be, frankly, a dream come true. I have so much love for this game. I almost cannot get over how much I love this game. Like, rest in peace, Satish Palilamari, and Satish has brought so much joy to me. And Dominic, and it's like, thank you so much. And Alex says the curation is important. That's why people prefer monikers over celebrity. Celebrity is the public domain thing, and I guess you've also got Time's Up, and it says players 3 to 8. I will say that 8 is the maximum, only because that's how many things you've got in there. I would say that if you, in theory, if you had more people, you could split up into teams. I think that would be totally fine. If I had 10 people at a table, I think I would be fine teaming up with someone and say, okay, this turn, okay, what have we got? Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, now we kind of discuss between ourselves what's the funniest thing to put in the middle of the table. And it's important. It's not the best answer. You can't say what's the best skill to have, and then you just put something that's logically true. You've got to put something that's entertaining, because the judge can select this is the best for literally any reason. So it can be whatever, the best by whatever measure, and that's an important rule. And so this is a game for people who want to win games. This is a game for people who love party games. This is a game for people who love injecting a wee bit of personality and being silly, and maybe you want to be have that moment to perform. You want to have that moment to shine. You literally say anything on your little whiteboard, but you don't have to speak it out loud. So you get to think about it, write it down, and then put it into the middle of the table and be like, yep, okay, that's it. I'm going to be over here. So actually, it's a game that you get to be appreciated for what you do, not like one of these, okay, I'm going to apples, yeah, that card goes with that card, oh, haha. But like, it's, I wrote down something and it came from my mind, but then the question did kind of set me up. Yes, the worst place to wake up, my mind went to, okay, where are you going to wake up or you die? And then Neil Bowser Milne, they kind of said in the coffin, and just like that's one of those memories that I'll always have. And like the friendships that I forged in Language Tea Cafe, and the time when people came over and then we played this. And this is a game about the people. This is a game that gives people the chance to shine. And this is a game like where the betting chips you bet and you show your appreciation, because when someone bets on you, you feel good about it. You feel like, oh my God, someone bets on me, and I feel validated. And then someone else, and so yeah, I want to, if I'm doing an actual review, I want to take some takeaways. As a designer, I think that my takeaway is that the voting, there's a lot to learn. Like, firstly, the voting. I mean, the fact that you have multiple places to put your chips, and people are going to naturally spread their chips more because it feels like, okay, I'm going to get, okay. And then this means that you're more likely to get a vote. This means that you're more likely to get that validation from other people. You're more likely to be happy and feel like, yay, I said something that people appreciate. Then you feel really good about it. I would say, like, if I were to do a mega game of this, like if there were 15 individuals, and like I might say, okay, we do 3 poker chips rather than 2. I don't know, but like 2 feels like a really good number. It feels perfect. It's like 2 is the magic number in this game. The other thing that it occurs to me is like that some people are just scared to be the center of attention. Some people don't want to play yogi. Some people don't want to play charades, and then they've got to get up and do this acting. Some people don't want to play snake oil, where everyone's looking at them for a minute as they do this performance. But here you write your bit, you put it into the middle of the table, and that's it. It's almost like a party game for introverts. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't need to be the center of attention. I mean, I don't mind being the center of attention. I would be happy to get up on a stage. I mean, my only worry if I'm the center of a stage is, am I taking this away from other people? If everyone says, you know what, Bez, we really want to listen to you playing the piano for an hour, I'd be like, awesome. Right on, I'm going to play the piano for an hour. Or like if people are like, yes, as long as people are saying, yeah, I don't know if this is sarcasm or not, but yes, really, I am happy to be the center of attention. I guess that probably probably my comforts. The reason that I think this is sarcasm is given that I do so many videos. I mean, maybe that shows that was it sarcasm? I'm really bad at detecting sarcasm. Oh, apparently it wasn't sarcasm. No, I'm happy to be the center of attention. I would happily be the center of attention for hours. And when I was younger, I used to be like someone who would just talk on and on and on for like minutes. And then my dad said, hey, you know how, I know you're only like 7 years old, but you were talking about games to this person for like this family friend for a long time. And actually, I'm sorry to tell you this, but they weren't actually as interested, and sometimes check in with them, make sure that they are interested. So I'm better at checking in. Are people interested? And the nice thing about something like a video, something like Twitch, is that, you know, if you aren't interested, I will kind of find out about it one way or the other. I'll find out about it because fewer people are watching or whatever. But yeah, this is a game where if you don't want to be the center of attention, you can still enjoy it, and you can still be witty and get your friends to, yeah, love this game. And it said, anyway, looking at the side of the box, 13 plus. Sure, I think it could go lower. There's definitely a few questions like talking about partners or talking about mother-in-law. Like I think that if there's one adult, like I would say more than half the cards would be totally fine for any age. Having said that, you probably need some sort of life awareness to be able to say, this is a film that I like, or this is a band that I like. So, whatever age you are at, and you will probably need to kind of pick questions that fit the people around. So, yeah, I would say a 10, absolutely. I'm honestly quite surprised at how high this age is. I mean, I just feel like my nibblings would absolutely be able to play this. Players 3 to 8. 3 is not as good. I would say 3 is okay. It's a chance for people to entertain each other. Honestly, if you want to have a party game of entertaining each other, this is about as good as you're going to get at 3 anyway. But it really shines when you're at that, okay, 5-player or more. And then they've got teach time, 2 minutes. Yeah, I would agree with that. Playtime, 30 minutes. Yeah, sure, I agree with that. And say anything, and then see how different the color is because this was left in the sun. So yeah, that is that. I don't think there's anything left to say. Oh yeah, design lessons about that sometimes being able to put a thing onto bits of paper and push it into the middle of the table. It's really nice, and that it raises questions about how much do you want to win, like and Alex mentions, thank you for mentioning that under 13 it doesn't need extra testing as a toy. So yeah, it might be because of that. Yeah, people get validated. People feel happy when you point at them. Having multiple voting chips is really good. Being able to write anything is really good. Having I could argue about the notion of in this game you just write it and then you reveal it straight away. And I have mixed feelings about that. That's one rule that I have mixed feelings about. So, in one sense, it's good because if 2 people write the exact same thing, the judge says, okay, you were second, that's too similar, you need to do something else. But the judge could have looked at them as they were coming in. The downside of it is that it might kind of add too much pressure, or alternatively, someone else might say, oh, someone did that. Well, I'm going to do an even better version of that, which doesn't feel that satisfying. But having said that, things being face up, the other thing is like that possibility of just freezing under pressure and being like, oh, what am I writing? At least if you see more things on the table, then maybe you're thinking, okay, I can get more inspiration from things that have already been written. And if you have your thing down already on the table, if you think, oh, this is a really good answer, then the judge is always able to reject things later that are too similar. And so that's the reason to get your thing down earlier, but it's still, that's honestly, this game is brilliant. And I think that as a mechanism, the whole voting, again, this is a party game for people who really want to win when they play a game. It's a party game for people who want to express themselves and express themselves in a creative way and be, this is my favorite. This is one of the games I love most in the world. I feel weird saying that, this is a game that I've just got to give up, and I'm not ready to say goodbye to it. Oh, I just love it. And it's changed. It's gone so many editions. And I guess this is kind of what's like, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, like this is the end of like the proper review, but like this is just going to be me rambling. And I was saying goodbye to like, because there's a notion of physical object as a, okay, I'm just going to shift a thing. There's a notion of physical object as memories. Do you know what I mean? I look over there and you can't see it, but I can see a lovely, lovely bit of stitchwork that was given to me for my birthday. And it's a reminder of a friend. It's a reminder of the times that we spent together. It's a reminder of the care that we have for each other. And I see, Yogi. Like, actually, I've got a box here that I've not even properly unpacked. And there's some new boxes. I don't know where this is from. I honestly, it's, yeah, I don't know. Is this Russian? I don't know. I feel like I should know, but yeah, I don't know what language that is. And like the fact that I see this and it's like a proof, it's like a physical proof that I've managed to achieve this. And say anything, it's a memory. I see this and then I remember the good times. And as games become, as we play games, we forge friendships and we make memories. And sometimes you remember the games. And more in the past few months, I've realized that the thing that really matters is the relationships in my life. And that's why probably I might honestly really avoid designing games solo in future. Like why I might push a lot more towards trying to work with people, maybe people who I'm physically, geographically close to at least. But having more people that I can sort of build friendships and yes, working relationships, but also friendships. And, with here, it's like, oh, that time when I was playing, and like, even if it's a vague distance memory of that time when there were three of us and then we played in Glasgow and I think it was Neil's flat, or that time when I invited everyone over, then we played Say Anything and then we played Bonanza, or the times when, played it online, and the times when played it at my birthday parties, the times when I played it at the Language Tea Cafe. It is wonderful. It's wonderful for learning about people because people can say anything. It's in the name. It's wonderful for learning about you and expressing yourself. And I just want to. And so, if you think that you'll get some sorts of use out of this game, if you think that you will actually play it, then let me know. And honestly, I just want it to go to someone who will appreciate it. So, that's Say Anything. This is almost symbolic. This is like, wow, oh my god, this is like more emotional than I thought it was going to be. Man, I'm sorry. But Say Anything. I'm going to put it back on the big thing. So Say Anything. It's a spectacular game. It's a game that forges friendships. I don't have much bad to say about it. Okay, it's slightly too complicated for someone who's really drunk. It's maybe slightly convoluted in an attempt to but the betting and the wagering I mean, that is the spirit. And I realise now that in making it work for online play, maybe I moved away from what was key about it, which is like every little rule. That one rule of, yeah, get 2 wagers. What a difference that made. And yes, in today's day and age, this isn't maybe. This is going to be a difficult game to play until we can meet each other in person. But when we can, I strongly recommend this game. And it depends on the. Again, this takes me back to the nature of reviews because I'm reviewing this edition. If you are buying another edition, if you're buying like the 2012 edition rather than the 2008 edition or the 2016, or I don't know when the last edition was, but it looks very different. And the content will be different. And I would have to read through all the questions to give you a fair analysis of, okay, is there anything that is problematic? But I'm probably going to finish up. I hope that I've made it clear that I really, really love this game. And I think it's likely to help you forge some wonderful memories, because at the end of the day, that's what board games are all about. Having fun with people, learning about the people around you, and having some wonderful times together. So yeah, say anything. It allows you to be creative. It allows you to guess what a friend will appreciate. It allows you to kind of play to the judge. It allows you to try to win. It allows you to play hard. It allows you to laugh. It allows you to be silly. Yeah, it's brilliant. End of review. Oh, wow, that was emotional. I am selling that game, even though parts of me would rather just keep it forever, but I'm not going to take it to Thailand. It's too big a box. So yeah, please. Thank you very much, everyone who is still here. After all of that. And so yeah, what am I doing now? If you're still here, then wrap up. I talked about my first play of Manhattan Project, and I started off talking about this game, which is good so far. Then I talked about Mind Out, which I can't actually see. I'm sure I put it over here, and it seems to have. Oh, here it is. Mind Out. That was a nice game. There's pleasant stuff about it. I personally prefer stuff that it doesn't have the satisfaction of a plan that I'd done a lot of work for, and it didn't have majorly exciting moments for me, but it was a nice game. It was fun. It was. Was it fun? It wasn't fun for me. It could be fun for you. Manhattan Project. My first impression, I'm really excited to play it again. And say anything. I'm going to sell, but very reluctantly. I mean, I do want to sell it. I do want to clear up space, but I want to sell it to someone who will actually really get something out of it. So I'm not going to sell it like super cheap. But that is my recap. So those have been things. And maybe needs a 2-player variant for you. Sorry, I missed the timing of that. Which game were you talking about? Say Anything? No, Say Anything couldn't have a two-player variant. Manhattan Project works well two-player, and Mind Out. Which one? Oh. Like honestly, like, it is very low interaction, and so I don't see how 3 or 4 is going to be that much difference to two players, frankly. But so I don't think that's it's a player count specific issue. I don't think my issues with this game are specific to the player count. I think my issues were more to do with that. I'd like to feel like, oh, I've done something, I've achieved something, boom, and yeah, yeah, I felt like, the win state of the game is just flipping over a card and then being able to go back and forth, and being able to place that barrier. That feels like that's always going to be the win state, and it doesn't feel like I've done any work for that. But, if someone were new to games again, like, maybe for them, if buying a thing that allows you to do more actions is exciting, if buying a thing that allows you to go down for cheaper is exciting, if buying a thing that allows you to stock more mines is exciting, and if, whoa, what am I getting here? Oh, no. Because everyone has their own little player board. Sorry if that wasn't clear, but everyone has their own player board. So there is no interaction. Like, there's not a shared map. Everyone has their own map. So yeah, maybe I didn't explain the rules well enough. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, I guess this can't really go high enough for me to show a two-player setup, but, or could it? Hopefully the review. Do you think the review was good enough to kind of split it up and put? I mean, it was the first impressions. When I am probably going to play it again, like, just to clarify, because now that Layla knows the rules, and I know the rules will probably play like that, Manhattan Project in the same night. Now that we've kind of, anyway, okay, if you were in and out, okay, maybe I did a fine. I'm going to say I did a fine job, and it was all on you, Alex. But yeah, so that was the games that I talked about, and yeah, sorry, Lewis, that I feel kind of bad, but yeah, it's interesting, like, how different these games are, because genuinely I don't think that it feels like, okay, as an introduction to games, if it's like, okay, this is a game that I'm trying to watch my words, because I'm trying not to be too harsh, but I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm going to be harsh. This feels like a game that you're going to go out of. This feels like a game that, if you've already played lots of games, if you've played more than, if you're watching this show live, this is probably not a game for you, other than curiosity to see what it's like. If you've, ironically, the people that this game is for are not going to even be watching my review on Board Game Geek. The people that this game is for are going to be those people who, wait, you'll take it as in you want the game? Okay. Like, if you want. I mean, that's a big bit presumptive of you, but if you, yeah. Is that what you mean? Like, wait, do you mean you'll take it as in you want to take the game? Or do you mean you'll take it as in you'll accept that it was your responsibility? Okay. So, yeah, you know what? I'm probably going to do some sorts of competition where I'll write down some numbers of how much these games are worth to me, and maybe like maybe starting tomorrow, we will have. I don't know. This feels kind of cheap. I was going to say something like, okay, if you log in, you get like a BEZ buck, and every BEZ buck that you get gives you access to a game, and but you still need to pay postage. But yeah, if you want to, yeah, I don't know. It's just a vague idea. Man, I'm looking. I fancy some need. Xate would love the BEZ box. I mean, Xate would not love this game. So yeah, it's a good game for someone. I'll play it again. I'll review it more. This, I love it. I adore it. And this is like a strategic game. And like, it's interesting how there's like such a wide variance in terms of like, this is the variance in terms of complexity. Like, and even with free games, like there's a variance in terms of they're all actually quite a similar length in time. Well, if you play this 2-player, then it's similar. And yeah, I hope it's been entertaining. I hate saying goodbye, but if you want to reach me, I'm stuffabez.com, stuffabez.bitcartel.com. If you actually want to buy my stuff, you can buy print and play editions, twitter.com/stuffbez, instagram.com/stuffbez for pictures, twitch.tv/stuffbez every day at 10 a.m. UK time, and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. UK time, youtube.com/stuffbez if you want to watch the things after they are live, but you really should just be on the Twitch, stuffbybez.com/discord will redirect you to my Discord channel. And so yeah, oh, I think Alex is saying, "Oh, sing goodbye if I don't want to say goodbye." Yeah, like we've not even gotten to the over to you section. And so yeah, BEZ and Friends Game Day will return. And thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you to today. I would like to say a special thanks to everyone who's been in chat. Thank you, Alex, for unnecessary moderation, and Rob and Jess and Monique who popped in. And yeah, thank you to all those lovely people. Thank you to all the people who give me, like, thank you to people who are selling games at a reasonable price on BookTok. And thank you to Layla for being a wonderful gaming friend with me and for playing these games with me. Thank you to the designers of these games. Special shout out to Satish Palilamari for achieving so much before he sadly passed away. And yeah, thank you to all the friends that I've made whilst playing Say Anything. So yeah, that's very expansive. And I guess now thank you to my mum and dad for having sex at some points in the past and procreating and for inducing my existence. And so, yes, over to you. What are you up to now to share anything you want to? You know what? I am going to get in touch with Layla. I'm going to see if Layla wants to play Manhattan Project. You know, if they don't, then I'm feeling actually generally okay. I'm not still going to take some time off, but I might do some reading. I'll either play a game or do some reading. I'm going to try and stay away from electronics. I might, when I say electronics, I mean like visual electronics, just because if I'm staring at a screen all the time, it's just an easy trap to fall into. I'm going to try and make sure that I wander around. If you would like a phone call from BEZ in the next 30 minutes, then send me a message. You know, stuffbez@gmail.com or on Facebook. You've got my Facebook, so send me your phone number if you would like to chat about basically nothing. But otherwise, yeah, let's thank the Big Bang for bringing this universe into existence. Yeah. that big bang. That was pretty cool. And yeah, is there anything that anyone else would like to share? I am going to I might do a wee bit of cleaning. I'll see how I feel. I'm just going to chill and do some reading and maybe play some games and maybe do some walking around whilst I'm listening to podcasts or talking to people on the phone. And so yeah, that is that. Um Let me know how you are. While people are typing up for my next streams, look at my stuffbybez.com/streams and you will find out. I'm going to share the thing on Instagram later today. But tomorrow is accessibility and marketing outreach with Dina. Oh, that's exciting. I love Dina. And I mean, as a guest. And then Janice, first time guest, Janice Turner is on Tuesday talking about agile game design. Then Wednesday is going to be my first ever play along where I'm going to be playing Imperial Settlers, Roll and Write. Where is it? It's over there. But yeah, I don't know how much I'm enjoying it anymore, to be honest. I've played it 9 times and now I'm starting to enjoy it a bit less. But yeah, I'll probably just start griping. But I really want to get through all 48 sheets. I really want to make it through all my 48 sheets. And then next week we've got publishing board games with Vincent of Lucky Duck Games, Friendly Friday Forum, that's going to be a regular tradition now, abandoning games with Michael, Vince being another new guest, of course, and Vince being super lovely, and I'm excited. So please come prepared with some great questions because Vince has so many insights, and I'll be reviewing more things next week. And yeah, I hope that this has been a good stream for you, and let me know. There's lots of love for Dina. Thank you. Dina will be... And Alex is making a roast dinner after finishing their walk to the shops. Oh. Well, thank you. And that brings me to the sad close. Firstly, please do share and spread the word. It's been lovely having you here. Yeah, if there's someone that you think would enjoy watching me play Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, or talking about marketing or agile game design or publishing or any of those things, tell them to check out that stuffbybez.com/streams. Or also on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. I don't know what we're going to play, but we'll decide the day before. We decide on Monday. And if you've got any preferences, let me know. And yeah, genuinely, people tend to not express any preferences. So I just pick something that we've not gone. If we can get at least 4 people, we will adapt Richard Garfield's game. So Richard Garfield, probably best known for Magic the Gathering, Keyforge, King of Tokyo, Robo Rally, of course, made this game called Hive Mind, based on a previous game from them called What Were You Thinking, I believe it's called. Anyway, so yeah, going to play that from Richard Garfield as long as we have Do you hear me scoffing at you? This is me scoffing, Alex. I don't know if that's a loud enough scoff, but yeah, share, spread the words. And yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there is only one thing left to do, and that one thing is to say bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 everyone. Bye, 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 bye. Hope the streams had fun. Bye, 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 bye. I wish you a lovely day. Bye, 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 as you go on your way. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye, bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye. But now it's time to go. Bye bye. Bye bye.